Find yourself in the Beachview area of Pittsburgh? Check out the official pizza of this show, Slice on Broadway, sharing an abnormal obsession with pizza we can relate to. Check them out at sliceonbroadway.com and tell them this show sent you.
Hungry as fuck, but I ain't starving yet. Chain for the pain, cocktail dollar set. Never said I was a gangster or thug, but I'm an animal. Peanut for the taste of the floor.
Hello, everyone, to Indy Mayhem Show, episode 80. Hi, this is an unfamiliar voice if you are a regular listener to this show, but hi, how's it going? I am Eamon Payton, down here in Corpus Christi, Texas, the voice, as many say, of Inspire Pro Wrestling down here, the color commentator. Joining me, and I get to introduce him this time, he is the head of a little place called Sorgatron Media, where he produces events for group DVDs and video on demands for groups such as the International Wrestling Cartel and the Renegade Wrestling Alliance. Sorgatron, Mike Sorg, how are you doing?
Hello, Eamon. Thank you for doing the intro. I'm a little flummoxed because I'm on my way back from Virgil Town, as in the Legend of Virgil and his traveling merchandise table that is releasing here within the next 24 hours. So I figured, let's let you take on the duties. Let's take on the heavy work, heavy lifting this week. And I'm still kind of in recovery mode from finishing this project and getting it out the door. So good to be talking with you again, Eamon.
It's great to be talking with you, Sorg. So for those that are listening here, hi, how are you? Thanks for listening to the Indy Mayhem Show. If you're definitely either listening to us or watching us on various amount of platforms, you can check us out on iTunes, YouTube. What are the other places? I don't think is Stitcher still
all the places.
Anymore?
Just go to WrestlingMayhemShow.com. It's got all the links and thingamabobs that you can click on, so you can never miss an episode of the Indy Mayhem Show or other great products at Wrestling Mayhem Show.
I also want to send a special thanks as well to our friend Basic Sickness, who did the intro music for this show. Much love to him as well. I remember that part of the intro for this show. You can also email us at goodtimes@wrestlingmayhemshow.com or at our hotline 412-206-WMS0 to tell us if there's anything you think we should be talking about in the show, any questions you have for any of us. Feel free to contact us on there and go check us out on there. You can also follow us on find us on ProWrestlingTees.com for a myriad of pro wrestling T-shirts that you can buy and support us monetarily, because that helps us a lot. And if you want shows like this happening, that's a great way to do it. So yeah. I think it's time now I'm confused because now I got to introduce myself. Hi.
No, you don't. You already did that part. Now we're going to talk to our wonderful guest this week, who you're the one that knows that part.
Yeah, because there's usually the part where Sorg says, "So, Eamon,
I love this so much. I love that you're completely falling apart at this. No, you have a wonderful guest. Please let us know who she is, and let's learn about her.
I do have a wonderful guest this week. This person, in the starts of her professional wrestling career, training down in Austin, Texas, for America's Academy of Pro Wrestling, and is starting to build her way up in the Texas wrestling scene. It's a pleasure to have her on this week, ladies and gentlemen. Please welcome to the Indy Mayhem Show, Laynie Luck. Laynie, how are you this evening?
Hi guys, I'm good. Thanks for having me on the show.
Definitely. A big pleasure to have you on. Sort of a question we kind of start off with generally as almost an icebreaker in a sense, because we all, get into wrestling one way or the other. What's your first ever memory of watching professional wrestling?
Well, I remember watching it when I was little, like with my dad and whatnot, but the first, when it was my choice to watch wrestling was actually only just a few years ago, when I saw my first indie show here at ACW in Austin. I saw Barbie Hayden and Athena wrestle, and that's actually what made me want to start wrestling.
Awesome, cool. And obviously I think most people we have on the show kind of, like you kind of mentioned, they got into it from the old school stuff, but it's cool to see somebody that kind of got into it because of indie wrestling. What was about it? What was about the whole experience that kind of got you hooked on that?
Well, I mean, I always kind of liked wrestling, but I wasn't crazy about it. But just seeing that they, women, they were doing all this crazy stuff. They're having these crazy matches that the guys were, and I'd never seen that, like, when I was younger, because women didn't do that back then. And so it was just seeing that they could hang with the guys. They could put on just as good of a show, and just, like, that whole environment, like, interacting, like, the way that they drew the crowd, I was like, wow, I would love to do that.
Awesome, cool. And then obviously you eventually made the transition into training to become a pro wrestler. What was it like sort of starting out, because I believe you started with the America's Academy of Pro Wrestling in Austin. What was the big motivating cause to say, you know, I'm finally going to do this?
Honestly, it was just, like, I couldn't not do it anymore. Like, after I started watching local shows here, I started actually getting into WWE and everything, and just, like, watching it all day, every day. I was like, all right, I just have to do this. I have to go at least check it out, because I had no idea that there was a school here in Austin. And once I found that out, I was like, all right, it's here. Like, it's possible. I have to go start right now.
Cool. And when you actually did get to start training, was there anything that kind of sort of surprised you about the process that goes into training to become a pro wrestler?
I don't know that I was ever too surprised by anything, because I never, like, watching, I never thought, oh, this is going to be easy. Like, this is going to be no problem. I can do this. But I guess more the thing I was most surprised at was how mental it is. It's like physical is like the least like big part of it. It's like so much mentally than physically.
Cool. And did you have any sort of, I guess, like athletic background going into becoming a pro wrestler, or were you kind of just sort of starting out fresh when it comes to sort of a sport like it?
Yeah, I was pretty athletic, like, all through high school and everything. And before I actually started training, I had gotten a gym membership and been hitting the gym a lot just to be prepared, because I knew, like, that I was going to do it. So I thought, since I can't start the school yet, I might as well hit the gym. So I was pretty well prepared physically.
Awesome. Very cool. So into your actual training, what would you say would be like a day in the life or a week in the life of a training professional wrestler? Specifically, even at AAPW, what's the schedule kind of like? How does your week kind of go out, I guess you could say, when it comes to your training and stuff like that?
We have training Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and it's usually from 7 to 11. And the first half of the class is like your beginning basic stuff, your fundamentals, because we keep getting new people, so we got to get them through that. But you, like, as a senior, you continue to take it because you can never have too much basics. There's no such thing. And then usually the later half of the class, because George teaches the fundamentals, and then Ray steps in for the last half of the class, and that's when we usually kind of go over, like, psychology and, like, actual moves. Like, we can ask him, like, certain things that we want to learn and more advanced stuff like that.
Awesome, cool. And I know the school also does weekly events, I believe, where you get to wrestle.
Oh, no, we just do monthly shows.
Or monthly? Oh, okay, sorry about that. But yeah, but I know you're also kind of going out and wrestling some other places nowadays. What's it like to kind of get booked on shows and sort of traveling the roads, I guess you could say, of the indie wrestling world?
It's the funnest thing. Like, the shows are what we do this for. Like, it's that's the fun part. The training is the hard work. The shows are all the fun part. But we actually just, a couple of us had our first, like, actual, like, wrestling traveling weekend, and because we were booked for Friday and Saturday down in San Antonio, and so we stayed the night over there and stuff. And it was a really cool experience. It was like meeting all these, like, people that you used to watch, like, you used to just be a fan, and now you're, like, meeting with them and working with them and talking with them. It's really crazy.
Awesome. Are there any people that I guess kind of stand out in the Texas wrestling scene, or even bigger than that kind of have influenced you along your run so far in professional wrestling?
Definitely Barbie, like I said before. She's the reason that I started. And Athena, definitely, because she just kicks ass all the time. And Steve Larino, he's actually my favorite, like, Texas wrestler. He's, in my eyes, just the perfect wrestler.
Awesome. Yeah. And we've had Steve on once before. Definitely. I would highly agree with that statement. Very, very talented individual. What would you say, I guess, in a sense, obviously you're kind of just starting out in wrestling, but do you have any sort of goals when it comes to your future, maybe even just like a year down the line, couple years, when it comes to your career in professional wrestling?
I guess, like, picturing, like, a year down the road, I'm working for bigger companies, like maybe like the NWA and stuff like that. Maybe Shimmer, hopefully. That would be really cool. Those are probably my short-term goals, but obviously long-term goals are even bigger companies.
Definitely, definitely. I mean, obviously WWE is a big goal for many, and I would assume that's kind of another thing for anyone aspiring to be a pro wrestler.
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. So another regular question we tend to ask on this show is, what are you watching currently for wrestling-wise when it comes to studying purposes or either just recreation? Is there anything you kind of have your eye on currently?
I definitely watch a lot of New Japan just because that's the style that I really like strong style. That's what I hope to kind of incorporate into my own. And then I watch the usual WWE stuff, and then a lot of local indie shows too.
Very cool. Awesome. And to close things out, the regular question we have on the show, and many of our guests tend to take it in a lot of different ways, so feel free. But the question we have is, what is, in your opinion, the best and the worst thing about independent wrestling?
Oh, man, I don't know that I've really experienced like a worse thing. I mean,
yeah, I mean, for someone just starting out, I mean, obviously, but.
I mean, I guess it's just the usual whole women can't wrestle BS that you run into a lot. That's not really indie, it's like all of wrestling, but that's probably like the only like downside that I've experienced so far. And the best thing is definitely getting to travel and like meeting people. Like I've met so many people already, and I just started.
Awesome, very cool, definitely. Well, thank you very much, Laynie, for joining us here on the Indy Mayhem show. If you have any upcoming events you're going to be appearing on, or if people can follow you on social media, feel free to plug away and let everyone know.
Yeah, for sure. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. It's all Laynie Luck, same name, and I post all the time about my shows and everything. I can't remember at this exact moment what my next shows are, but I definitely post about them all the time. Let you guys know what's up.
Awesome, very cool. Thank you very much again for joining us on the show. And
Chachi Plays for Kids is coming back again, the 24-hour game-a-thon for youth arts programs in Pittsburgh. August 7th and 8th at the Tuneseum, or join us live. ChachiPlays.com. Find out how you can make a difference too and donate today. ChachiPlays.com.
Up, down, down, left, right, BA, start! Yeah.
So, Eamon,
Sorg.
I had a trip this past week, as you may know from my Twitters. And we talked about...
I know from many different things, yes.
Right. And we talk about this, I go to the gathering of Juggalos. They have their Bloody Mania. No Kaiju Big Battle this year. That was actually 3 nights of wrestling. They had their Exotic Ladies of Wrestling, which is just some really good booked wrestling, actually, that people awkwardly yell, show your tits to, unfortunately, which I feel really bad. But I did tweet our friend Elizabeth... Mary Elizabeth Monroe. I knew I flipped something up there. It's late. I'm sorry. But she said she had a good time and everything. So and it was really good. Again, a great collection of wrestling. Some other friends of the show, some girls I see around here, and really just good talent up and down from that. The next night was the Oddity Brawl, and of course Bloody Mania was their big event where they pull out all the stops for there as far as their booking goes. Oddity Brawl was interesting because I didn't know what to expect from it, right? Because there was no Kaiju Big Battle. What they do with this? The first match was Matt Classic taking on a bear.
I heard about this.
You heard about this.
Well, from you, but I'm very interested in this because there is some bear-related activity
That's right. It's
gonna
not
be
the only one
soon.
happening here, but no, he came out and it was a guy in a bear suit. And at a certain point, of course, Mayhem Classic, if you're not familiar, he seems in structure very similar to somebody named Colt Cabana. But at a certain point, the bear's head got ripped off. And I think the joke was that he was a gay bear underneath it that kind of hulked up and just destroyed Matt Classic. So that was entertaining. The other entertaining of the night was, I forget what they called it exactly, but they had their kind of two marijuana characters come in, Isaiah and Weed Man, who happens to be the champion right now. And the challenge was that they had to stop every 60 seconds and smoke up mid-wrestling match. There were giant bags of tortillas involved. There were Legos involved. I don't even know why the Legos got in there. I missed that somehow. But they looked like they hurt more than anything else they had over the weekend. Again, it was just gimmick match after gimmick match. Zach Gowen took on three guys that were the Viking Party in a handicap match. But they also introduced Gregory Iron to the show, too, as the outside enforcer, basically, and talked about, and then they mentioned what his issue was with the cerebral palsy and everything, and of course he comes in and helps Zach, and it was pretty good. The Juggalos were definitely down with him. They had a glass for that ass match was the main event, light tubes, those glass panes in the corner, all kinds of crazy stuff. It's like to the point where you're hitting the mat and all the glass is just jumping and that sound is going off, right? There was a barbed wire match of some sort. There's a bloody brawl where you have to be bleeding to be thrown over the top, and that was the Oddity night. It was some fun stuff, and we were just talking about the hardcore stuff on Wrestling Mayhem show, and it was just enough, right? It used to be this was every match, it seemed, over the weekend, but they really kind of pared it down lately. The Bloody Mania itself was a lot of fun. And this is, again, the night they had really good wrestling. For the first time ever, Matt Cross and MVP, tremendous match. I know Matt Cross was sharing his comment from MVP that it was it was a great match and it was great to work with a professional, so and it really came off very, very well. Tracy Smothers showed up just in time for the flag burning match with Rude Boy, and they burnt the flag right on the ring post, which I thought was just going to catch the entire damn thing on fire. They went into the crowd in almost two campsites. I'll throw up some pictures here while we're talking. I don't know if you've seen these, Eamon, but the setup was it was like they found this crevice hole a little bit. Down and it seems it was like surrounded by campsites and everything, like at the top of the hills. But it was really nice because you just sit on the hill and you could see everything. Like you didn't have to go down to it. We all had camping chairs in my section up there, and we just got to sit back. And for the show that starts at 1 a.m, a lot of us are really kind of already exhausted from all the shows that night and everything. So it's really nice to kind of see. To just kind of hang out and do that. And also it was a lot better located than last year because we had to go down this giant hill to look for the wrestling ring. And I think a lot of people just kind of didn't bother last year, right? But no, it was really good. We had a tag team match. The Hoodlums were there again as well. And I'm starting to fade on exactly what happened on some of these things. Main event, Matt Hardy took on their local guys, Weed Man and Too Tough Tony, who usually does a lot of hardcore stuff, really. And here's a shot from one of the hardcore matches. I think this is the glass match, actually. You see a light tube going up there and taking that guy out, for instance. But one guy's name was Mosh Pit Mike. I think he was in the Battle Royal. But again, really good show. I've been kind of saying hey, so such and such come with us. I'm trying to get non-juggalos to kind of come check this out. And I think for the wrestling, Wheelz, I think you would be into this kind of thing. I think Will would be into Bobby of J-Town. I think you guys would really enjoy coming out, even just to see the wrestling and just see the spectacle of the entire weekend would be a lot of fun. for all you guys. And I definitely recommend it. It's definitely something a little different. Again, it's kind of got that flavor. But even like this year, it didn't have a lot of that. Like, if you weren't a Juggalo, you wouldn't understand what's happening out there. Like, there was less inside jokes and just a lot of wrestling or hardcore or just fun stuff, right? And I think that really showed, because I think that kind of keeps anybody from getting into this kind of thing. And it's definitely a passion thing for the Insane Clown Posse that puts this entire thing on. They're very much like, no matter what happens, every year at the gathering, we will have JCW, we will have wrestling. I don't think they make any money off of this, but maybe they do a little bit. But it's very much like that's. They grew up wrestling fans and everything, and they're just completely down with it. And they even showed up without face paint in just to announce one of the matches. And that is a Chris Benoit standee in the front, by the way, that they were holding up all night. So, which there was a great moment where Violent J's looking at the like right here. Actually, this is probably the point where he was talking to the standee. And I can't tell you how high he probably was, but he's like, "Oh, Chris Benoit, I was a fan of your work. By the way, fuck you."
Wow.
So that was pretty cool. But those who don't know, they actually did. ICP actually did a song about Chris Benoit. So you can go check that. It's not.
I think we covered it on this show at one point.
I think we talked about it at one point.
Show.
It's not even as far as an ICP song goes. It's not that great. But that they talk about killers. And it's not really a supporting song. It's just a lot of these are samples of bad shit. Right, and that's no different example here. So we have Wheelz on with us for RWA. I did not attend. I will be editing that this week for DVD and digital download at PittsburghWrestling.com. I know apparently the pictures I snagged from Katie are already in my Google Photos because they popped up right in the middle of all this other stuff. But it looks like you guys got pretty freaking crazy there on Saturday night.
Oh, Sorg, the way you and I had the discussion of starting a show with a TLC match and ending it with a cage match was exactly the way I thought would happen, and it was amazing. Mm-hmm. It was a great show from beginning to end, even in that hot building. You've been in there in a July atmosphere. There were 220 people in that gym, and it was amazing. And I mentioned it earlier on the Mayhem show. During the main event, the Fold versus Team RWA was just as crazy as you'd think it would be in a War Game style match. It even had a turn on Team RWA, Brian Edmonds, against the RWA fans. And Dr. Feelbad actually got on a mic and started freaking out and yelling to everybody, just get out of the cage. And he told them, I will give you to the count of 5. He hit 5. I hit music, and I went deaf. Not from the music, because I am the music guy. So, of course, I'm not going to go deaf. The crowd went nuts for the return of the best in Pittsburgh, Ashton Amherst, who was wielding a bat. And as I said on the Mayhem show, it was so nuts. I saw a lady beside me, had her child on her lap, and the baby flew up in the air. And, okay, yes, the baby was caught, so nobody panic. But it was just that much excitement. She squealed really loud, and the baby flew. Wrestlers later came to me and joked about it. He went, man, that pup was so crazy. Babies were flying. I think I caught one. And I laughed my butt off. This show was just that amazing, and I highly recommend, if you missed it, please get it. If you were even there, still get it, because this show was amazing. And it was also announced that this coming show in August will be the last show of one of the members of Generation Dead, G-Raver. So the match set up for that is Generation Dead member G-Raver versus Gory. And I can't wait to see that match. And if it's anything like that TLC match this past Saturday, we're in for a treat. And I highly recommend the DVD or the digital download. Get it, people. I loved it. I can't wait to watch it again.
Awesome.
Sorg, back to you, brother.
It's going to be good stuff. I can't wait to edit that thing here this week. Eamon, you got any news before we get out of here today?
Not any big news. I can say, well, I guess there is news from the Inspire Wrestling stuff. We did Battle Wars tickets went on sale for our big joint Chicago Pro show that's happening on September 13th. So much fun last year. Glad we're bringing it back. And we also just announced today, well, the announcement came out that we'll be a part of Fun Fest again this year, November 6th through the 8th. That'll be very fun, definitely. A very cool experience last year being a part of that for the first time, and it'll be cool to be back there. We're sharing a bill with Wu-Tang Clan, which is kind of weird. Yeah, it's interesting. That and like Andrew WK.
Nice.
But yeah, it should be interesting. It should be a fun weekend. So yeah, there's definitely a lot of cool stuff going on from there.
Awesome. Go check all this stuff out. Thanks to our interview this week, of course. But check out rwalive.com, inspireprowrestling.com, and juggalowrestling.com, I think, is the other one for the Gathering of Juggalos. There'll be a lot of stuff. They actually have the DVD up from last year's Bloody Mania, which was a lot of fun as well. You can see Boogeyman feeding worms to Juggalos. That happened. So go check all that stuff out. It's amazing. Absolutely amazing. And check out everything at WrestlingMayhemShow.com. Support the show. Buy a t-shirt, become a Patreon supporter, whatever the case may be, or just tell a friend, share it if you really dug the interview this week or in previous weeks as well. So until next time, please support Indie Wrestling.
Never said I was a gangster or thug, but I'm an animal. Beating for the taste of the blood. Sick, you know how I act now. If you got a problem, come and see if I'm a back down.
Joe is a member of the Sorgatron Media Podcast Network. Find out more at sorgatronmedia.com.
Hi everyone. Do you like video games? Do you like reading about video games? Do you like listening to podcasts about video games? Why don't you check out insertcointobegin.com? New articles going up daily, and you can check out our podcast, Boss Battle, on sorgatronmedia.com.